I have had a whirlwind last few weeks, and in some ways, it feels like the month of October has just flown by, although it really hasn't. I just got back to the States, and if you've listened or watched the previous video, I spent a few weeks in my hometown of Freeport in the Bahamas. Sadly, it was not for pleasure, vacation, but my family and I, we made it through. So my recording and uploading schedule got a little bit interrupted. No worries. I managed to, though, eke out that chatty vlog because I was so excited. But I'm back, and life is getting back to normal. The first thing I want to get to is what this video is about. My October ink report. I got some stuff to tell y'all. Now, if you remember from before, I decided to do an experiment with a selection of Jinhao pens. And to be honest, I need to say that this wasn't a fair experiment because of the past few weeks being out of town. And so I wasn't in my studio and I wasn't writing as much. Because these pens are so inexpensive to purchase, for the whole month, I knew that I would only be using the Jinhao pens, but each having a different nib. I had such a good experience with the Jinhao 82 that I brought previously that I wanted to see how a lineup of the few of their pens would show up. A couple of things came to the forefront almost immediately. The first realization was, I love writing with a big pen, as in the girth, the size of the pen, the wideness of the pen. And I think that's because my pen grip is fairly tight, so my fingers are more relaxed with these size pens. And the second thing I realized is the Jinhao 82 is still my favorite nib, the smooth, buttery smooth writer. Now, before we go to the overhead, there's one more thing I want to say. Because this month's Currently Ink was specifically about experimenting with Jinhao pens, I will evaluate the pairing, but only in terms of the pen writing experience. So with that said, I won't be including in this ink report which inks I want to purchase, bottles out, because I wasn't concentrating a lot on that, just how they work through the nib. Okay, with that backstory and that catch up, let's get to the overhead, shall we? Let's go. Alrighty then. First pen up is the Jinhao 9019. This is a beautiful pen. This is the one that had me thinking, I like the girth. I like having this bit of hold because my fingers aren't so tight on it. What can I say about this one? This was this had an extra fine nib in it, and I thought the extra fine would be too scratchy, so I tend not to go for an extra fine. But the feedback was kind of moderate in this one. Certain auditory noises kind of irritate my system. I don't know if you've ever heard of the condition called misophonia. I know a couple of people with misophonia, and I don't have it to that degree, but certain noises do irritate me, and feedback on a fine nib kind of gets to me over time. It is a pretty pen. The only issue that I had with it initially after using it was this nib. Can I get this nib? Is gigantic, just absolutely gigantic, and I had to get used to that. Although I love the girth of the pen, I had to get used to this pen being, the nib being so freaking large. It was so weird. Anyway, for this pen, oh, I forgot to tell you, it is inked up in Ferris Wheel Press Double Raspberry. As you can see, this ink is just beautiful. It is a beautiful, I love a pink. I love a pink! So this was just beautiful to write with. I gave this writing, this for me was a 7. And Yeah, I liked it. It was interesting to write with. It will always be in my lineup of pens to use. It didn't go high like some of the others. The ink was really good. And remember, this is an experimentation on the pen itself, not necessarily the pairing of the pen and the ink. It was really just to see how these pens would write. So it got a 7. It got a 7. Alrighty. Next up, I by mistake, actually got 2 of these next pens. The Jinhao 100. The first one up is the Jinhao 100 in the Snow White. I tell you, I'm having a thing with white pens. Who knew? I cannot explain this thing with white pens. This is my third, I think. Anyway, there's a couple of things that happened with the Jinhao 100. This particular pen. And every time I took it out of the case, see now it's tightened. I can't get it open. Every time I took it out of the case, the cap was a bit loose. Every single time. It's inked up with Robert Oster Brandy. So this is the color here. It's a beautiful orangey, goldy type color. Love this color. I was really disappointed with using this pen. I was really disappointed. When I first inked it up, the color of, and it's not a shimmer ink or any properties, no particles or properties in it, in this particular ink. But that ink stained the barrel and you could see the stain through the cap. I was so disappointed. I didn't know what to do. Now, I can see the ink through there. I don't know if you can see. You can see the ink through there. Yeah, you can see it right there. But I expect to see it right there. I did not expect to see it on the cap itself. So what I did was I actually emptied the ink and then cleaned the pen itself and then refilled it. And it didn't happen again, which was fascinating in one respect. What happened the first time that it would stain. And as I wrote with it, and I'm going to show you some samples. As I wrote with it, let's see, I think this is the first one. This was fine. I love this. It came out beautifully. But when I wrote with it a second time, let's get to this one. That's not what I want. You can see it got a little bit globby. I couldn't stop it from globbing up, which I was irritated by it in the beginning anyway, and the globbing was an issue. The other thing I noticed was when I got back home, and I don't know if this is a case of the travel that I did with this pen, when I opened it up, when I got back home, there was a bit of globby dried ink right at the edge of the nib. I mean, it just sat there forever. So I probably has to do with the travel, but yeah, I love the look of this pen. I like, for the most part, I like writing with it. I'm going to try this pen with a different, maybe Brandy was too wet of an ink. I'm not sure. I will try this one with a different ink and see what the experience is. As I said, this pen is holding tight now. It knew that I was disappointed with it, so it's kind of like trying to redeem itself in my eyes. We'll see. We'll see. So this particular pen, this one got a 4. I like it, but don't do the stuff that you were doing. I'm not a fan of that. So as for the other Jinhao 100, that is this one. See, and as I picked this up, it must be the 100s, because this cap was a bit loose. As you can see, it's moving a bit there. Yeah, this is the Jinhao 100 Classic, and just for funsies, I actually bought a Fude nib. It's bent upwards. So it's bent upwards. I'd never used a Fude nib, and I don't know what to do with it, but I used it anyway. And as you can see, it came out, this one came out a bit gloppy here as well. Gloppy is my term. Don't knock me. Don't come for me. Gloppy is my term. I have a feeling it's because of the size of the nib, and the nib is used for calligraphy, and so I wasn't really doing calligraphy work. How did I mess up that word? Anyway, I wasn't doing calligraphy work, and let me show you let me show you a couple of things. And I used it. So here, what I figured out is that if I wrote in block letters, no cursive, it wrote kind of well. It wrote well. But if I wrote in cursive, this looks anyway. This was okay. This was okay. I love the look of the pen. It's a beautiful pen. I think I need to figure out how to write with a Fude nib. I think that's what I need to figure out, what ink to use. I need to do some research, basically. What ink to use so that it doesn't flow so freely, although you really want ink to do that. But in this one, it didn't. And I don't even know, because this one is inked up in Robert Oster Green Lady Shimmy. And the shimmy is green particles. And I think, let me see, can we see it here? And you really can't see it. You can't see any shimmy in any of it, any green at all, which is interesting. Anyway, disappointing that you can't see the shimmy. I'm really disappointed in that, but it's an okay nib. I really do need to figure out how to write with a Fude. This one did better than the last one. This one, I gave it a 6 because I actually enjoyed writing with the Fude. I think because it was so unique and different that it was interesting to write with. Alrighty, the next one is, and I'm gonna go, I made a mistake here. I wrote this ink report here, and this I had to write here. So we're going to go with the Jinhao 8802, and that's this little beauty. This is a heavy pen, which is interesting. It's a heavy pen. The nib is a fine nib, and it's called Birds and Winter Sweet Painting. And it's with this pen I began to realize that I'm kind of turning into a person who likes fine nib. My whole experience of fountain pens, with fountain pens, has always been, I always bought a medium. And in the last few months, I've bought more and more fine nibs. And I'm really enjoying writing with it. Let's see if I can find a sample of this one. This is inked up in Robert Oster Detox. Is that it? That was it. You can see, and the Detox. You gotta love a name, a description for a ink that's called the Veggie Laden Hangover Remedy ink. Gotta love that ink. So it's a army green, and this pen wrote beautifully every single time. No issues with it whatsoever. The only thing that I have about this particular pen is the thinness of it. Remember, I found out that I really like the girth, the wideness of large pens. Interesting. And I'm finding right now that small pens, because they're so small, my hand tends to want to gather around it really tightly. And I experienced, this is a pen that I cannot write with for very long. So a journal entry is probably good. Transcribing a couple of pages will not be. But I absolutely enjoyed writing with this pen. It was really good. It was really good. So let's put that back here. And this one I will actually give a 7 to. Well, that's this one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. The next one up. Oh, be still my heart. I love this pen. Oh, just absolutely love. These are fashioned after the Sailor Pro Gear Slim. This is the Jinhao 82. Can I just tell you, I love writing with these pens. Absolutely love it. They are the most buttery smooth pens to write with. This is a medium nib rather. This combination of pen and ink. The ink was one of my all-time favorite inks. Organic Studios Nitrogen did not disappoint. As you can see, the sheen came through in this writing sample here. I don't know if it's picking up. I hope it's picking up. Anyway, I have nothing but good things to say about the 82. It is just such a beautiful writer, smooth. It's a medium nib, as I said. Originally, I don't know if you can see, originally I inked it up in Sailor Shikiori Yukiakara. And it was just too light. I couldn't, when I'm journaling, I like to read my words. And that ink was too light. So I just took a piece of paper and just kind of just pretended it didn't exist. So it's the Jinhao 82 medium nib, Organic Studios Nitrogen. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful writer. So, what had happened was, the next pen is this heavy AF pen. When I talked about this pen for the currently inked, I talked about how the color on the barrel and the cap did not match the image that I saw in the online. And I was a bit disappointed because I wanted it to have, remember I have this thing with white pens. So it said gray marble and I really wanted it to have more white. And so I think that jaded my thoughts on this pen. I think it really did. And so it decided, I'm not going to perform well for you, Grace, just because you didn't like me in the beginning. And it did not. This was an absolute, total disappointment. I'm so sad about that. I am really sad about that. So this pen is inked up in Ferris Wheel Press Steamboat, 3 steamboats rather, and I love the ink. The ink is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The pen has a medium nib in it, which it's actually a nice looking nib. But can I name all the issues? My goodness gracious. I am not sure what's wrong with it. So every time I went to write, there was a hard start every single sentence, which I've never had that with every single sentence, every single time. So I'm not sure if the nib has baby's bottom or the nib, the tines are too tight and they need separating. And I'm going to try that because, I mean, the pen is so inexpensive. It's not going to take a lot to play with that nib. So the problem with this is because I had such experiences in the beginning writing with it that for the month of October, I did not use this pen very often, which is interesting because the times that I did, so there's stuff that happened. The times that I did use it, I used it transcribing in my notebook. And I don't have a sample to show you. And that's mainly because I left my notebook and the book that I was transcribing at my sister's house in the Bahamas. So I'm going to have to start all over. So I don't have a sample to show you of this irritating pen. Oh my God, so frustrating. What I think I'll do is I will purchase a second Jinhao X 450. I mean, they're only $9. I mean, really. So I'll purchase another one of these pens, and I want to see if it writes the same way, or if this pen is just a lemon. this nib, I should say, is just a lemon. Well, the pen too, because I'm not all of that. Yeah, this might be in a giveaway pile, because I wonder, can you change Jinhao nibs? I think you can. Maybe I'll change the nib. Maybe I'll get a Yovo nib and put it in there. Anyway, this was not a very pleasant experience. And so this one is going to get a 3. I am just not a fan of that at all. Oh, I forgot to say that this one is definitely a 9. That's the 82. Of course it's a 9. Come on, it's an 82. All right, the last pen, if you saw the October currently inked, the last pen is the X159. Can I just say, I like this pen. What happened before was, and I'll insert a little bit of what happened with it. So I wrote this with the Jinhao 159, and this I wrote with my Kakimori stainless steel nib. This is the color that the ink was, but this is how it came out. So I cleaned it out, I washed it all out, and I put in a different ink color in it, and it happened again. This is the color I wrote with the pen, and this is the color it's supposed to be. It was weird because when I inked it up, the ink that came out was lighter than the ink that it's supposed to be. And I found that absolutely fascinating. I tried it with 2 inks, and as you can see, it just came out totally different. So because it was an Amazon purchase, I decided, and it was probably like 2 or 3 days later, I just returned it and I got this one. Beautiful, beautiful writer. I did not have the same issue. So that makes me really like this pen. This pen is inked up in the Pilot Iroshizuku Momji, which is a pinky red pen. Red ink, rather. And this is, look at the size of that. I cannot get over a number 8. I cannot get over a size 8 nib. Whoa. Just amazing. Anyway, let's stop being surprised, because you've been writing with it for a month now, so. This pen, I really enjoyed the writing experience with this pen. This was, look at that. That is so pretty. It's interesting though, I'll show you the difference between it. It's interesting though, when it's written here, let's see, can I bring that up? As you can see from here, it really looks pink more than, and I know that's probably the part of the paper. This is a Cosmo Airlight paper. It looks really pink, and I don't know if you can see the shading around that. Oh my God, so cool. Or the sheening, I forget which one it is. I need to remember. And then writing in my journal, this looks red. And this is a Hobonichi. And this is the Tomoe River paper. I cannot believe, I mean, it has hints of pink in it, but the overall look of this writing is red. But this looks decidedly pink. So, needless to say, I really enjoyed, after the debacle in the beginning, I really enjoyed writing with this. Of course, this is the same type of girth as this pen, which is kind of cool. I just like, I love that. And that's only because my hand doesn't get as tired. So, that's one is going to get it. It's good, and I have to say that the what I'm giving this particular pen is because of the experience from before. So we're going to give this a 7.5. I like it. I will probably really enjoy writing with it. With these two again, I probably absolutely will enjoy it. Okay, so I want to say a few thoughts on this experiment, this October currently inked experiment with the Jinhao pens. It was okay. I really expected to have better experiences with all the pens. I mean, we're three. I'm going to take 82, Jinhao 82 out of the running because I knew that that was going to be a good writer. But we got from a low of 3 to a high of 7.5. I wanted more. I wanted to have higher numbers for these. I'm kind of disappointed that it was just okay writing with the Jinhao. I mean, granted, it is a very inexpensive pen, so you're going to get different ways. Like an expensive pen, like my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. Oh my God, that pen is consistent throughout. Oh, I cannot wait to get another Leonardo. But these were just, it was an inconsistent writing experience. I think that's why I didn't enjoy it as much. Yeah, I'm kind of sad about that. Which pens will I use going forward? Definitely these two. Definitely the 9019 and the X159. I probably will use this one, but not as often. This is the 8802. And as I said before, it's probably just because it is so thin. Oh, and it doesn't, I didn't even try that. It doesn't cap. Without a doubt, oh my God, I will be using the Jinhao 82. So I think of all of the pens, these three definitely. I will put this in there sometimes because I think it's a pretty pen. But these three are the ones that I will just keep using. I'm not sure about these 100s. I'm not impressed with the 100s at all. Yeah, I'm just not impressed with the 100s. I want to see if putting a different ink in here will stain the whole pen again. I'm not looking forward to that. I hope it doesn't happen again. I have to experiment with writing with the Fude nib. I'm glad I got it, but yeah, I'm glad I got it. And did I tell you that I ordered another one already? I ordered another X450, and we'll see if that's a nib thing with the X450. And the weight of this is so much. I mean, compared to this, oh my God, this is so heavy. Anyway, I am actually glad I took on the challenge of a Jinhao experiment. I'm glad I did it. I wanted to have it be a better experience overall, but hey, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. Let me know in the comment if you've used any of these pens. What was your experience? And do you have a favorite Jinhao? Even one that I didn't put in the experiment here. Let me know in the comments. By the way, the next video coming up is my currently inked for November. It's a little bit late, I know, but you know, I had stuff to do. I had planned to do a 30 inks, 30 days for November, but with the prep work that's needed for 30 inks, 30 days, I knew that I would not get to it. So also because I didn't have access to my studio, which is the whole point. I didn't want to have to record all of those things in a foreign land with not my stuff. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Look for currently inked for November coming up soon directly. Where did that come from? You can tell I visited my hometown with dialect still working its way through in the words I say. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.